I want to talk about congenital birth defects and congenital events. In the animal industry, we've learned how to prevent every birth defect you can think of simply by preconception nutrition. For instance, congenital deafness is caused by a preconception deficiency of manganese, not magnesium, but manganese. And then we know that muscular dystrophy and cystic fibrosis are caused by congenital or postnatal, immediately after birth, deficiencies of selenium, the trace mineral selenium. And we know, of course, and I was in on lawsuits against the FDA on this one, spina bifida, hydroencephalocele, all the neural tube defects are caused by a deficiency of certainly folic acid, but also can be contributed to or caused by deficiencies of zinc also. And cardiac defects, heart defects can be caused by deficiencies of zinc. Okay? Just no doubt about it that these things are totally 100% preventable by perfect nutrition long before conception occurs. So what we have to do in human beings is be as kind to ourselves as we are to the animal industry. We don't have health insurance for animals, and so a farmer is going to give large amounts of vitamins and minerals based on the body weight of the animal, based on what we know that animal needs, perfect nutrition, because he doesn't want to feed a cow for the duration of the pregnancy and have a calf born with a birth defect, because then he's going to be paying all that money and that calf is not worth anything. People won't eat it. They can't raise it for breeding. It's just a mess. And so we've learned how to prevent and reverse many, many birth defects with nutrition. And I'm urging everybody for holidays, Christmas, birthdays, times when a present is due, office exchanges of presents, baby showers, wedding showers, engagement showers. Anytime somebody graduates, they have an A. Just because you want to give them a gift because you love them, give them a Youngevity business, a $10 one-time fee, you get your own business. America is built on people being entrepreneurs, not employees. The employee thing came only after the Industrial Revolution. And, of course, I want to go back to the days when everybody has their own business. Even if you enjoy your job and you have a job and it's a great way to get a sort of income to pay your bills, but if you're really going to be an American and really take advantage of all the tax laws and this, that, and the other, is quite legal. That's what they're there for, is to encourage the establishment of small business. Well, what you do is you find your Youngevity associate, you pay your one-time fee, one time in your lifetime fee, and you can will this business to your kids and grandkids, so they won't even have to pay the $10 fee once that business is established, and you can use the various tax laws to get back most of your withholding. You know, you're able to deduct a portion of your either your rent or your mortgage because you're using a home office. It's the same percentage you'll be able to use to deduct utilities, also home owner's insurance or renter's insurance. It's just an amazing thing that you have access to these legitimate tax deductions, all the same tax deductions that Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and Donald Trump have and all the other billionaires have. You can only get when you own your own business. So why don't you invest $10 one time, give your kid, your grandkid, a Youngevity business. You get involved with them. You'll be closer together. You'll get cash flow. By the time these kids are old enough to have their own cars, they'll be able to pay for their own cars, pay for their own car insurance. They won't need student loans by the time they're going to college. They won't need student loans, and they won't be saddled with this terrible weight of a student loan they have to pay back. And guess what? This is all done with a one-time $10 fee. Of course, you have to perform. You can't just do that and it's all going to magically appear. You have to become a student of the business, and we will train you for nothing. That's the beauty of Youngevity. We will train you for nothing. This all goes back to the concept of preventing birth defects. It's all intertwined. Most of these birth defects are actually physician-caused events. Physician-caused events. Now, don't you take vitamins and minerals. You can overdose. Now, exercise, drink plenty of water. Don't take vitamins and minerals. Lower your cholesterol. Stay out of the sun. It's a mess. It's all caused by misinformation passed on by medical doctors. In the old days, Grandma was in charge, or great-grandma was in charge of these sorts of bits of information. And the number of birth defects we have, the number of young people. I mean, we have kids under the age of 2 getting MS now, multiple sclerosis. That used to be a disease of people in their middle age, at 35 to 50. Rickets is coming back with a vengeance. What? Rickets? Vitamin D, 3 to 50? Yeah. Put on sunblocker. Stay inside, play video games. Don't go out in the sun. You might get skin cancer. Don't take vitamins and minerals. Don't eat egg yolks. You're getting the picture. This is all under the advice of doctors. Same way with Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is a deficiency of cholesterol. Even the FDA came out in February of 2012 and said, we have a problem, Houston. Using statin drugs to lower your cholesterol increases your risk of type 2 diabetes by 52% and Alzheimer's disease by 100%. Why would we want to do that? Well, our doctors told us to do it. So what I want you to do is get a hold of that book, Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Get a hold of the CD by the same title, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, and learn how to protect yourself, how to prevent birth defects, how to prevent disease, how to add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life. What a great Christmas present. I mean, adding 50 years to somebody's life is a lot better present than a $50 Macy's gift card. Well, stick with us. We'll be back with more truth, justice, and the longevity way on Dead Doctors Don't Lie after these messages. Okay, Doug, what are we going to do here? Let's go to...
How about a Pearls of Wisdom?
Pearls of Wisdom.
I want to talk a bit about a story that I found on Reuters. It's headlined, Scientists Start to Unpick the Narcolepsy Link to the GSK Flu Vaccine. What they're talking about here is the GlaxoSmithKline H1N1 pandemic flu vaccine that they rolled out in 2009 and 2010. And this thing's called Pandemrix. And they say that they've now found that what may actually trigger this link to narcolepsy and this vaccine is something called molecular mimicry. And they say it's a possible explanation for the link. In fact, there were some studies done in Britain, Finland, Sweden, and Ireland that found such a link. And GlaxoSmithKline actually says there's been at least 900 narcolepsy cases associated with the vaccine so far, reported in Europe alone. And now researchers in the U.S. have shown that the debilitating disorder characterized by sudden sleepiness and muscle weakness can be set off by an immune response to a portion of a protein found in the H1N1 virus vaccine. And they say similar to the region of a protein called hypocretin, which is key to narcolepsy. And they say it can happen in a genetically susceptible group of people, so it's their fault that they got it. And researchers add that about 20% of the European population have this genetic profile, making them vulnerable to getting narcolepsy from this vaccine. And they say it was widely used in 2009 and 2010 during the flu pandemic, and they found its use was linked to a significant rise in cases of narcolepsy in children. Say it can be thought to be brought on by a loss of function in the wakefulness cells called hypocretin cells in one of the brain sleep centers. According to Emmanuel Mignot, a narcolepsy researcher and director of the Stanford Center for Sleep Sciences and Medicine, which actually did a study that was funded by GSK to look deeper into this link. They found a relationship between H1N1 infection vaccine and narcolepsy, gave his team, as he says, a very interesting insight into the possible causes of the condition. They strongly suggest that the defenses or T cells of the immune system primed to attack the H1N1 can occasionally also cross-react with hypocretin and somehow cause the destruction of brain cells that produce hypocretin. So once again, another doctor-caused disease.
Are we amazed?
No.
No. Well, narcolepsy has been around for a long time. That's actually an old-timey term for what we now call reactive hypoglycemia, also hyperinsulinemia, and that's where the vaccine injury potentially comes in, is the hyperinsulinemia. And, of course, what I'd recommend, even if this narcolepsy that a person might have, where they're talking to you and they just go to sleep right in the middle of a sentence, or they're driving down the highway and go to sleep, is not this highway hypnosis thing. It's a sudden drop in blood sugar. And basically what I would do is get a hold of that book, Let's Play Doctor. And, Doug, it shows you how to diagnose your own narcolepsy. The book, Let's Play Doctor, in the home laboratory section, it's such a common thing. And that's one of the things that's in there. We show you how to do your own blood sugar test where you can diagnose your own narcolepsy. And this is great stuff. And certainly if you have a history of getting one of those vaccines for the flu back in those days, H1N1, definitely you want to get that book, Let's Play Doctor, and do that test yourself on yourself. Don't spend a lot of money and time and energy going to a doctor and making them rich for giving you bad advice. Do that test yourself. Again, it's in the book in the home laboratory section. And what it amounts to is a 6-hour glucose tolerance test, and it actually shows you the different tables and charts how to diagnose this yourself. And then it goes into telling you how to deal with it. And what I would do, if you diagnose yourself with narcolepsy, whether you had the vaccine or not, you take the healthy blood sugar pack, 1 per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and it'll go away. Wow. But thank you for bringing that one up, Doug. We'll be back after these messages. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's head to Alabama. And Anthony, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Oh, Anthony, you're on the air.
Hey, Doc. How you doing today?
Fabulous, sir. Thank you. How can I help you?
I got a gentleman that's 60 years old, 6'2", diabetes, 240 pounds, dealing with prostate cancer, and has high blood pressure, type 1 diabetes rather than high blood pressure.
Okay. You have type 2 diabetes or type 1?
Type 1.
Okay. Type 1. Okay. And then 240 pounds and prostate cancer, correct?
Yes, sir.
60 years old. Okay. Well, if he's 60 years old and a type 1 diabetic, he's done a pretty fair job of managing his type 1 diabetes. How tall is this guy? Do you know?
6'2".
6'2". Okay. Yeah, so he might be 20, 30, 40 pounds of overweight, depending on his body type and so on. But basically what I would do for this guy is give him 2 of the healthy blood sugar packs per month. That would be 1 ounce of the Osteo FX Plus at breakfast and dinner, 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangerine NutriCrystals at breakfast and dinner, 3 of the EFA Pluses at breakfast and dinner, and 3 of the Sweeties twice a day. Make sure he takes his fasting blood sugar every morning before he medicates himself. And I actually deal with a lot of type 1 diabetics who've been with me for 30, 40 years, and they're in their 70s now, and they stay on the rails. They avoid all the bad stuff, the fried foods, the processed meats, the oils, the sugars, and so on. Reduce their fruit down to almost zero. Get mostly the stuff they need from food out of vegetables rather than fruit. Just keep away from the sugar, natural and processed. And they take the healthy blood sugar pack and check their fasting blood sugar, and they're able to reduce the amount of insulin they need to maintain their blood sugar in a normal range. They are able to reduce the number of times a day they have to check their blood sugar. And so for testing, it saves them sticking themselves a lot. And so they're very happy with an improvement in their quality of life by doing that, and also their extended life. Now, for the prostate cancer, in addition to the 2 healthy blood sugar packs per month, I would give this guy 3 of our Ultimate Selenium capsules 3 times a day, 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner. It would be 3 bottles of selenium a month. And I would also give this fella the Cell Shield RTQ. That's going to get his ORAC points, his antioxidant points above 100,000 a day. So I want him to take 5 of those Cell Shield RTQ capsules at breakfast and 5 at dinner. Cell Shield RTQ, kind of like a warrior shield. And then RTQ, 3 letters, R for resveratrol, T for turmeric, and Q for quercetin. And it raises the antioxidant points 5 twice a day. Will raise the antioxidant points above 100,000. These long-lived people who have antioxidant points, the ORAC points above 50,000. Americans only have 1,500, 1,500. So I like people who have serious diseases, including cancer, to get above 100,000. Cell Shield RTQ is a way to do it without taking in sugar. We'll be back after these messages.
Let's head to Pennsylvania. And Wilma, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Wilma, you're on the air.
Hi. I'm 83. I just turned 83. I've been very active.
Well, you sound very energetic for somebody 83.
I am, but the atrial fibrillation has kind of bothered me here just lately really bad. I've had it for 22 years.
Okay, let me ask you a question right here real quick, and this is for our listeners as well as yourself. How much have you shrunk since you were 20 years old? When you were 20 years old, what was your maximum height?
Probably 5'4".
And how tall are you now?
They told me I'm 5'1".
Okay, that's perfect, because you've lost 3 inches in height, and that's very typical of people who have atrial fibrillation, because when you have atrial fibrillation, there's nothing wrong with your heart. It's always a back problem, particularly the upper back problem, but the disc between T1, 2, 3, and 4, the disc in between the vertebrae, T1, 2, 3, and 4, the first 4 vertebrae in your thoracic area, your upper back, begin to shrink. And these vertebrae get closer and closer together, and they actually crush the roots of the spinal nerves that control the rate and rhythm of your heart. So what we have to do here now, have they done any procedures on you, like put in, install a defibrillator or a pacemaker?
No.
Okay, good. Did they do anything like an ablation or retroversion?
No.
Good.
I spoke to him about the ablation, and he said, well, your heart pulse is good. He said it's not fast, but he says it's just the skipping there.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
do not get those procedures, and certainly do not get a retroversion either. So those 4 procedures, say no, 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 because certainly do not get on a heart transplant list, because atrial fibrillation is not a heart problem, it's an upper back problem, and usually it manifests itself as shrinking. I've seen people shrink 2 inches, and this occur 3 inches, very common, 5, 6, 7. I've seen people shrink as much as 7 inches. They have terrible, really bad, really debilitating AFib. And usually about 3 inches is where it's sort of a constant thing, low-grade constant palpitations. And usually, and you may notice that this position that'll set it off. You stand on your toes to reach up to get something off the top shelf. You bend over to pick something up. You go upstairs. Then you lay down to go to sleep. Anytime you kind of change posture or twist around to get something from behind you, you can set this AFib off, okay? So what I want you to do, you have to tell me how much you weigh here, Wilma.
Between 92 and 93.
293 pounds?
No, 92 and 93 pounds, right in there.
93 pounds, okay. All right. So, Shar, are you on here?
I'm here.
Okay, well, be prepared, because you and Wilma and I are going to come back, and we'll help her out here after these messages. Okay, Doug, let's go right back to Pennsylvania. And Wilma, okay, Shar?
Yes.
Now, this lady weighs about the same you do. You weigh 95 pounds soaking wet. She weighs 93. Yes. So what would you do for her? She's got osteoporosis, degenerative disc disease, and AFib. Let me ask you one more question here, Wilma. Are you on any medication for your AFib?
Topril and aspirin.
Okay, so go ahead. What would you do, Shar, for degenerative disc disease, shrinking, osteoporosis? What would you do for her?
1 healthy bone and joint pack.
Okay, per month, yep. Exactly. And I would get her an extra bottle of the glucogel so she could take 10 of those a day, 5 at breakfast, 5 at dinner. You're exactly right. I'd have her take an ounce of the OsteoFX Plus at breakfast in the morning. That would be accomplished by the 1 healthy bone and joint pack, 1 scoop of the Beyond Tangerine NutriCrystal at breakfast and dinner, the 3 EFA Pluses. She can either take all at breakfast or 1 at breakfast and 2 at dinner, or 1 with each meal. And that extra bottle of the glucogel will allow her to have 10 of those a day, 5 at breakfast, 5 at dinner. Do not take any carbonated drinks at meals. And let's see here. Wouldn't hurt to take some selenium just to make your heart happier. It doesn't interfere with any of the medication you're on. And your weight and age, I would take 2 of our selenium at breakfast and 2 at dinner time. And then call us every couple of weeks. Let us know how your AFib is going. And, anytime the AFib gets better, the doctors might start reducing your amount of medication. If they do that, we can do more things for you, but there are certain things, we can't give you a lot of herbs or anything like that because you're on those medications. Give us a call every couple of weeks if you would, Wilma, and keep us informed. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's head to Los Angeles, California, and Barbara, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Well, Barbara, you're on the air.
Hi, Doctor. My question is about animals. I hope you don't mind, since you started off in animal work. But I just have a 13-week-old Chiweenie that I adopted from a pet store who had saved it from a humane society. He was just diagnosed yesterday with a working diagnosis of distemper. He's 5.25 pounds, so he's 5 1/4 pounds, and we have him on trimethylsulfa in suspension, 0.75 cc's twice a day. I'd like to know what I can do to boost his immune system to help him through this.
Okay. Well, we actually have, well, first of all, you want to be sure to give him a brand of dog food that's for toy dogs under 5 pounds of body weight, okay?
Which would be what?
Oh, you pick it.
Okay, well, right now what they have me doing, I was on a natural dog food that he ate last night, but he was unwilling to eat this morning, so I gave him in a syringe Hill's Prescription Diet AD.
That's fine. Okay, well, let me go on. You got to get calories into them and protein into them, but ideally you're going to look for a canned, not dry, but a canned dog food designed for toy dogs under 10 pounds of body weight, and you may have to search around and find one that he's going to like. And then I would also give him a quarter of a scoop of the Arthrodex. 1/4 of a scoop of the Arthrodex in his feed every day. It's a powder. You just mix it in the food, whether you give it to him by syringe, dilute it in milk or water, or you just sprinkle it on his food and he's eating it by himself. One other thing I would give him is the selenium. I'd also open up 1 capsule of selenium, dump it on a small saucer, take a butter knife, and make 3 piles, eyeball them so that they look kind of identical. And then take one of those piles, so 1 capsule will last you 3 days, and take one of those little piles on the end of that butter knife and put it into his food. So you're going to get 1/3 of a capsule of our selenium, which is going to support his immune system. So between the selenium, the Arthrodex, and the dog food designed for a toy dog under 10 pounds of body weight, you're going to be right on. Keep us informed. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
I think she had a second question.
Oh, okay. Barbara, do you have a
do.
second question?
Yes, I have a cat who has allergy problems, and I have macular degeneration since I was 7 years old, so it's very hard for me to give him the medicine that they want me to give him in his nose and his eyes. Mm-hmm. So he did okay on it, and unfortunately I don't know what the meds are, but I wondered if there's something I can give him as a supplement that would help with allergies.
Okay. How does this allergy manifest itself? Does he sneeze? Does he have runny eyes or itchy skin or what?
Snotty nose all the time, always boogers on the end of his nose and sneezing. Okay.
Yeah, well, I would give him a cat food that does not have dairy in it. Start out with no dairy, because even cats and dogs have sensitivities to milk products, dairy products, whether it's cheese or yogurt or milk solids or whey, as they mix into dog foods, because and it shows up in their sinuses and their nose and upper respiratory tract, and they can be sneezing and dripping and all that kind of stuff because of dairy products, just like kids. And so I would start out by getting him on a dairy-free diet. Make sure it's gluten-free also. Usually we're talking about a rice and lamb source of food for the cat. And then I would give the cat, what does the cat weigh?
About 9 pounds.
Okay, then I would give it a half a scoop of the Arthrodex in its food every day, a half a scoop, and a half a capsule of selenium every day. Okay? And then call us every couple of weeks. Let us know how the pup and the cat are doing. Okay, now, Doug, let's go to callers.
And now let's head to Little Rock, Arkansas. And Shelton, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Oh, Shelton, you're on the air.
Hey, Dr. Wallach. I've been having problems with my bottom eyelid being puffy and wrinkles under my eye, and it's kind of like an indention under my eyes for about 8 months. I've been taking the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack for a little over a year, and that's kind of, and my cholesterol is 283. That's what I want.
That's perfect. That just means you're sexy. Okay? Yeah, normal cholesterol for a human being is 220 to 270, and even up to 300. I don't get too excited, but you get above 300, that usually means that you have prediabetes or diabetes. You have low-functioning thyroid. You could be deficient in chromium vanadium. You could be deficient in things like niacin, omega-3 essential fatty acid deficiencies, a ratio problem between omega-3, 6, and 9s. Those are all the things that will drive your cholesterol above 300. But 220 to 270 is normal, and again, between 270 and 300, I don't get too excited, but I will look for other things and make sure the other things are in the normal range too. So it's kind of like a red warning light. There's not a single disease that's caused by cholesterol, but on the other hand, if you take statin drugs to lower your cholesterol, it will increase your risk of type 2 diabetes by 52% and Alzheimer's disease by 100%. And so stick with us. We'll give you some more information, Shelton, after these messages. with Dead Doctors Don't Lie on the ZBS Radio Network. Dr. Joel Wallach here for Youngevity and 90 for Life Crusade. And Doug, let's go right back to Arkansas and Shelton. How much do you weigh, Shelton?
220.
Okay. And do you have any history of any asthma?
A little bronchitis.
Okay. Was this kind of a long time since you were a kid or just recently or what?
A few years ago.
Okay, what about skin problems? Any skin problems? Anything like eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, or rosacea?
Sometimes I break out in little pimples and stuff.
Okay. Is this on your face or is this on your back or where?
Well, on my face and on my back sometimes and sometimes on my thighs.
On your thighs, okay. All right. Yeah, Shar, what do we got here?
He's got a gluten intolerance for sure.
Yep, got a gluten intolerance, so you got to give up gluten, Shelton.
Yep.
It means absolutely no wheat, barley, rye, or oats. You have to change your lifestyle and your eating habits. No wheat, barley, rye, or oats. That includes everything from scotch to bourbon to most beers. I think the only gluten-free beer in America, American-made, is the Redbridge from Anheuser-Busch, certified gluten-free by the FDA. Absolutely. You want to start living in the gluten-free aisles of the grocery store. You're not alone. There's 70% of Americans who are gluten intolerant. And so 220 pounds, what I would do is, Shar, what would you give this guy? 220 pounds, has some puffiness under his eyes, has the usual manifestations of gluten intolerance. What would you do for this guy?
Well, he should probably be on a healthy bone and joint pack. 2 of them, of course.
Okay, very good. 2 healthy bone and joint packs per month. That would be 1 ounce of the Osteo FX Plus at breakfast and dinner, 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangerine NutriCrystals at breakfast and dinner, 3 of the EFA Pluses at breakfast and dinner, and 15 Glucogel a day, 5 at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Be sure you're eating 6 to 8 eggs a day, poached, soft scramble, in butter, soft boil with soft yolks. And why don't you take the 2, you're going to get 2 wide-mouth jars, 1 with each healthy bone and joint pack, as Shar suggested. You're going to get 2 of those, 1 with each pack, and use that underneath your eyes where they're puffy. This relieves inflammation, relieves swelling, and also if there's any discomfort, any itching that goes along with the skin stuff, you can use the CM cream topically on it. It'll relieve the itching and awareness that something's going on there. And this is quite common. Again, 70% of Americans now are thought to be gluten intolerant, and you get a wide range of symptoms, but there's basic stuff. Okay, basic stuff, which includes celiac disease, appendicitis, diverticulitis, things like irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, colitis, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, and then a myriad of clinical things: hypoglycemia, diabetes, elevated blood pressure, cataracts, macular degeneration, fibromyalgia is another one, lupus, bronchitis, asthma, infertility, things like muscular dystrophy, cystic fibrosis, birth defects of all kinds. And when the mother is infected, afflicted, I guess it's not an infection, afflicted, affected. And these are things we have to be very, very much aware of. You have to be obsessive about it. And I'd urge you, Shelton, to get a hold of our CD called Serial Killers. It tells you all the hidden places you're going to find gluten. It's easy to give up wheat noodles and oatmeal for breakfast and that kind of stuff. But the hidden places, you find it in yogurt, ice cream. It's used to thicken things, soups, including things like chicken rice soup or chicken vegetable soup. Wait a minute, it doesn't have any gluten in there. Well, they use it to thicken it. And sometimes they label it and sometimes they don't. Oftentimes, even cheap coffees that you get in some of these discount stores are really cheap coffees. They mix 50% with rye flour, and rye flour can be devastating to somebody who has a gluten intolerance, particularly if it has a little infection of ergot. Whoa, you can really get some stuff there. And so very commonly an infestation of a fungus that produces ergot. And so you got to watch that with things like rye. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Really great testimonies and great questions. Hey, thank you so much, Shar. Thank you so much. Superlative job, Doug and Billy, as usual. God bless each and every one of you. God bless our troops. God bless our Navy SEALs. And God bless America.